All right, welcome back. Greetings, or just one greeting. Hey, sup? Hey, how you doing? Sorry we can't get through, but if you leave a name and a number, we'll get back to you. What's up, people? All right, thanks for joining in. I just wanted to get rolling here because there's always too much to talk about. And the show is only an hour long. It's supposed to only be an hour long. All of a sudden, there seems to be in another game of look over there. There's a lot of interest in uncovering the shenanigans of the Democratic Party. And there are shenanigans, and there were shenanigans, and there continue to be shenanigans, but all of this is woefully inadequate and just a blatant game, and it only serves to heighten partisan division, unfortunately. I don't know. When will people get to well, actually, so I saw some interesting. I have a lot of liberal type friends on my timeline. They seem to be getting a little wiser, a little more up on game about what's really going on. Somebody was posting about Gavin Newsom's recent barbs against Trump. And the comment section was interesting because I was like, oh, here we go, everybody getting excited about the Democrats, but the comment section was pretty, for lack of a better word, woke. All the people were like, well, yeah, that's funny and entertaining, but F Gavin Newsom, he's a pile of crap and I'll never vote for him. And I was like, oh. And there seemed to be a general agreement that he was a pile of crap, and that he wasn't their guy. And I was like, oh, well, look at that. Will you look at that? People beginning to understand. They're not gonna help you. But for right now, the Republicans seem to be banking on the fact that, they have they think that they have successfully demonized the Democrats enough to get people to go like, yeah, we're going to forget about all the crazy that you're doing. Man, we're going to get on board with this go get the Democrat train. I think that's what they're hoping. But hopefully the Republican people are getting as woke as the Democrat people. And I think that they are. Like, I don't think the marketing team does not understand that people are getting hip to the game. The marketing team does not understand that they're reaching less and less people every day. So, they're trying to reach out to the Republicans and say, yeah, those stinking Democrats and those commies. And, their Republican base is kind of like, yeah, but what about ending the genocide in Israel? Hey, what about those Epstein files? Hey, heard you were going to try and cut my Social Security and my Medicare. Hey, not so fast. Yeah. So the marketing team is trying. They're really trying. They're really trying to go like, but this is a real problem over here. Maybe the Ukraine talk with Putin was as much a distraction as it was serious. Probably most people would agree that yes. Probably more a distraction than because it seemed to be. It was kind of trying to be a big news story, right? In the middle of the Epstein files, in the middle of the Republicans running away from Congress, in front of Republicans obviously trying to gerrymander everything before the midterms, right? They're trying to go like, hey, how about peace in Ukraine? That's a big story. Nope. Nope. Oh, you're not late, Kate. You are right on time. Yeah, I'm sure, John. I'm sure that there's plenty of Trump still people who are on the MAGA train. The mega train. But there's a lot of awakening out there, which is good to see. And at the end of the day, well, I don't know where to start. Let's remember Josh Ellis, guys. Should have got him on the show. I used to read a bunch of Josh Ellis posts on Twitter, and we had a bit of a back and forth for a while. But of course, because Twitter does what they do, they decided to break up the gang. They were like, hey, you guys, we don't want any like real actual friendships and like I don't know, alliances being born on X between like-minded people. We'd like, as soon as we figure out that you actually interact and like somebody, then we're going to do our best to divide you. So anyways, let's read this from pretty good post from Josh Ellis. Hold it is, hold. He said this post went viral on FB today. I thought maybe y'all would appreciate it too. America is in serious trouble. I think y'all need to be prepared for the next year to be when things go off the rails, because I think there's no universe in which Trump and the GOP accept midterm losses. Which seem pretty likely now. They're doing everything they can to game the elections, if not outright rig them, and nobody's going to stop them, because doing that would require direct confrontation. probably physically. And the Democrats are still deluded enough to think they're going to prevail in the courts, and that prevailing in the courts will stop a party that simply ignores court orders because there's nobody to enforce them. Yeah. Side note, there's I can't remember his name, a comedian that I see on TikTok all the time, but he was like, and he's a liberal, but he's like, liberals suck because you guys don't understand that you need to go get some guns and do something. You guys will never do that. And he's like, and that's what needs to be done. And so, F you guys. Anyways. Yeah, I don't see Josh's posts hardly ever anymore. And that's because mostly we're on the same team. Anyways, and they try to divide people these days, not bring them together. It's a Hyatt engine, not a search engine anymore. Anyways, Democrats are still deluded enough, blah, blah, blah. So they're trying desperately to redistrict and do all the usual dirty tricks and also get rid of mail-in voting, find ways to disenfranchise anyone they think won't vote for them. But I think enough Americans may finally be scared and pissed off enough to show up at the ballot box in 2026 anyways. And that's when it's going to get ugly because they won't accept any lost ground to Democrats. They'll challenge every single vote where a Democrat wins, or they'll just declare outright that the federal midterm elections were all fraudulent and deny the outcome. And then what do you do? How do you deal with that? Do the newly elected representatives and senators just show up to the Capitol? What happens when the Trump-controlled DOJ denies them entry? Because that will 100% happen. Why? Because they have nothing to fear by doing it. Sure, file a motion in a circuit court and wait months for it to be on the docket, much less decided. And if a judge decides against them, who enforces that when every single person in the DOJ leadership has made it clear the only law that matters is Trump's whims? America is on the verge of either a total collapse of democracy or full-bore civil war. The difference will come down to whether American lawmakers and citizens would rather avoid violence or not. Everything they've been doing has been testing the waters to see how hard the citizenry will push back. The violation of posse comitatus by putting soldiers in the streets to do policing, the ICE raids, all of it. Nobody has pushed back sufficiently enough to make them think anything will happen when they deny the results of the 2026 midterms, other than late night talk show hosts making better or more impassioned speeches than Democratic lawmakers. And what people marching, they don't care about marches. All they have to do is find the weirdest looking people at any protest and plaster their pictures up on Fox News, and that third of America will just laugh at the stupid woke hippie soy boys and cat ladies. And if liberals do what conservatives did on January 6, 2021, they'll just mow them down and call them all thugs and terrorists. They don't care about consistency nor hypocrisy, and that's what most Americans don't seem to understand. They don't care if they sound like hypocrites or liars or crazy, as long as half the people buy their bullshit and the other half just tut and wag their fingers. Why would they care? Being exposed as a hypocrite only matters if you require people to believe your integrity to get what you want, and they don't require that. Hell, half of Trump's own base know he's a rapist who effed teenage girls, and all of them know he's a liar and a fraud. They don't care. He's a Claymore mine, and the front is toward the people they hate. And that's the thing that you can't solve with Supreme Courts or principled cops. A very large percentage of Americans are bloodthirsty, bigoted fascists who really want to fight because they think they'll win with minimal resistance, and then they get to punish everyone they think deserves to be punished and get rid of everyone that they want to get rid of, and not even have to pretend they care about fairness or balance or the rule of law, regardless of who it's applied to. They never have cared, but before they had to twist themselves into logical and ethical knots to get around the idea that all people are equal and everyone deserves to have justice applied equally. Now they won't even have to do that. All right, so this is I have an issue with this part. I don't agree. I disagree with this section of the commentary. Maybe I'll go find Josh on Facebook and let him know that I disagree. I don't know. Who knows? If anybody got time for that. I disagree. I disagree with half the people in the country are bloodthirsty, bigoted, or a very large percentage of the country is bloodthirsty, bigoted fascists. No, dude. No. I think the problem. Here's the big problem, right? In the same way that uh, uh, you know, maybe they're succeeding on some level, but I think that they're not. The way that the propagandists are trying to get Republicans to go like, yeah, those freaking commies, yeah, those Democrats, go get them. And the way that they're trying to do that in order to distract their base from being truly pissed off at what is going on. There's also a concerted effort by the other side to keep people thinking that like half the country hates you and wants you to die, and they all have guns, and there are a bunch of those people out there, sure, but like they're not the majority. I'm sorry. And I've seen some town halls, right, of like Midwestern Republican people who said they voted for Trump, or people who are definitely, middle of the road Republicans, whatever you want to call them, conservatives, who say, hey, this is not, we want rights to be respected, right? They're protesting, they're having town halls and saying like, just going out and deporting people without due process is not okay. So these are people who might call themselves conservatives or Republicans, but they understand what the rule of law is, and they understand that doing what they're doing to people is wrong, and that there's a middle ground somewhere. That's why there's so many people that call themselves independents, and not because Republicans and Democrats, or people who are diehard Republicans or Democrats, are generally extremist on some level, and there are less of those than independents, right? There are less of those than people in the middle who understand like, hey, it's not all black, and it's not all white, and it's not all red, and it's not all blue. Okay. So like, I think the important thing to do, and I don't think that this post helps with that, the important thing to do is understand that there is a middle ground between, people just want sanity. People want, some semblance of law. They want some semblance of decency and commonality and community, right? And they're not, the Amanda Seals thing. Have you guys been seeing any of that? Where she's, debating black Republicans. Man, all that is doing is, again, dividing people. And all these black Republicans out there, just white supremacist, they're just brainwashed, and she got him, and no, not really. She didn't get them, and they didn't get her. It was a debate, it was an airing of opinions, but like, I found it to be annoying, just straight up annoying, because it took the assumption that like, if you're not like totally on this, with this viewpoint over here, then there's something wrong. You're brainwashed, and you're white supremacist with the blackface and whatever it is, or you're not from this country. How do you know what like one of the debates? It's annoying, partisan, divisive bullshit. All of it was bullshit. And like, okay, so you have this big debate where it's like entertaining to watch black Americans divide themselves along these ideological lines. I don't buy it. I don't buy that shit. I think that is so divisive and hateful, and like, they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to get people all like, no, I don't like you. You're what's wrong with this country, and one side is just fascism and white supremacy, and the other side is just wingnut, I don't know what you want to call it, like wingnut communist, green-haired trans, black extremist national. Like, it's bullshit. All of that is bullshit. Like, people don't think like that. Not everybody thinks like that. Not everybody's on the extreme side of one or the other. Like, and what we need to do, like, okay, the first part of this Josh Ellis post I really enjoyed, but the thing that we need to do is go like, hey, listen, liberals are waking up to the idea that Democrats ain't shit. Republicans are definitely waking up to, MAGA is waking up to the idea that Republicans ain't shit. Trump ain't shit. Republicans ain't shit. These people ain't shit. That's what they're waking up to. They're getting it. They're getting it because they're throwing it in their face right now. So what we need to do is find a way, people of the internet, my friends and colleagues out there who, the great thinkers and the posters of the world, need to find a way to go like, hey, you know what? I see a lot of like waking up on the right and the left. And what we should do is, figure out what our commonalities are and figure out that, again, it's always us and them. And they are always trying to divide you. They are always trying to take out Fred Hampton when he's working with when he's working with KKK people, trying to find a common bridge, right? They are trying to divide you. They're trying to keep you divided. We need to find common ground. We need, yes, they're trying to gerrymander things and do all that kind of stuff. But I feel like what we need to do is, get another party going ASAP. We need to support independent politicians ASAP. We need to, hate to use the expression, reach across the aisle. We need to reach across, the divide that they're trying to constantly put on us. Right. And go like, hey, this is like, we're in a bad place. We're in a bad place. The duopoly is absolutely being exposed. I'm exposing it. I'm trying to tell you what, I've been trying to tell you. People try to tell, I'm not gonna, what have I been, I kind of hate that thing a whole, what have I been saying for years? I know what's going on. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to be that person, but like, I'm trying to tell you that and I'm trying to tell you that because of a lot of other people are echoing the same thing. I'm just echoing the sentiments that I think other people feel are real, right? And so I want to just be another point of communication in the line of saying, hey, this is a game and we need to get outside of the game. And that's the other thing too, is in this post, he's talking about they're going to lose the midterms to who? To Democrats is kind of the assumption. But you don't win anything by that. You just get back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth again. So maybe, the Democrats come out in force and vote Democrat just because they're like, oh my God, things are so crazy. But who do they vote for? Who are they voting for? Who are they supporting? I don't think it freaking matters. They're going to go out and vote for an AIPAC-backed, corrupt, Peter Thiel-backed Democrat? Probably. And you think that's going to change it? But the thing is that a lot of people are understanding this. So a lot of people are waking up to that, right? So it's like, there's got to be a different, right? Okay, so they're gerrymandering things because they think Democrats are going to come and win, but who cares if Democrats come and win? It's the same shit. All these Democrats are going to be co-opted into voting for the same stuff anyway. So like that has to end. We have to find common ground and come together and end this whole charade. And that's the thing that needs to be done. So that's my amendment to Josh's very good post. And I do agree that, like, I'll finish reading it. Sorry. He thinks everybody's, a bunch of fascists out there that just want to, push people around. Sure, there's some of those people, but they're not as many as you think. They have never cared, but before they had to twist themselves in a logical and ethical knots to get around the idea that all people are equal and everyone deserves to have justice applied equally. 2026 will be so much worse than 2025. It will probably be remembered as a moment when the Republic either self-corrected or ended in all but name. Trump is a fifth-rate Timu Caesar at best, but the midterms are going to be his Rubicon. The American people allow it to be. If not, it will be his Waterloo. Only Americans decide which, but they'll better decide now because defending the union is going to take strategy and actual big balls. Yeah, the strategy, I would... He goes on to say, if anybody is wondering what if I have solutions to this, I absolutely do general strikes. Your only choice are conflict or capitulation, but you can choose where the conflict happens in the halls of power and wealth or the streets where you live. Only two options now. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. The only way we're going to do this is like absolutely shutting it the F down, like shutting it the F down, striking it. Maybe we do have to show up to the polls and just be like, none of the above, none of the above, none of the above, none of the above. And we want to count. And we want to count. We insist on counting these ballots. We want someone else to count these ballots. And we're going to have, we're going to have to do something. But having it turn into the Democrats came out in force and then the Republicans got mad. Oh my God. Do we have to keep going with that? Do we have to keep going with that? Do we have to keep? Well, the Democrats came, we expect the Democrats to come out and have a strong showing because we hate Trump. Oh my God. Like, can we end that? Can we just end that? So anyways, generally a good post from Josh. I have some qualms. And I also have, general strikes are cool, but for what? Like you have to have a platform. You have to have an agenda. You have to have like general strikes. We don't like it. Okay, but what do you want? What do you want? Write out your list of demands. What are the demands? What do you want to see happen? What is the vision? What is the future look like? Come on, man. Come on, people. God damn it. Like a board with bullet points. Like goal, come on, do some fucking journaling in the morning. What would I like? How do I want the world to look? What do I want to see in the world? I want to see an independent party. I want to see something outside of the duopoly system. I would like to see, organization dedicated to support that and, blah, whatever. Something, write it down, make some bullet points. You're just not going far enough. What happened? What happened to us? What happened to people? What happened to people? Like, we've been beat down. We have been psychologically beat the fuck down to not like, you can't change anything. Yeah, you're not going to do anything about it. Just manifest the things you want, bro. Just it's like, come on, man. Like reality. We need to get in reality. Get your notebook out and write down the bullet points. How are we going to organize this shit? Who we got to get people together? Come on. What do we want? What do we want to see? What are the changes we want to see? What are the things that we want to see from people? And we understand that everything has been co-opted. Everything is being co-opted. It got to get around that somehow. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Extra bullet. We have to figure out ways to get vital arteries of capitalism shut down. Look to Europe. Look to France. What do? They shut shit down. But, what is the demand? What do you want? What's the ask? Power, relinquishes nothing without a demand. But what is the demand? It can't just be no. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny meme. Like, haha. No. Like, okay. But no, that doesn't work. What is the demand? What do you want, man? What do you want? Affordable food and healthcare. There you go. George Robson. Thank you. Right? Election, like real election reform, not that fake thing that they did with the Democrats a couple of years ago, right? Internet freedom, internet bill of rights, like a real bill of rights, like a real, Patriot Act. And nobody even talks about repealing the Patriot Act anymore. Like that was like a we must do this like 12 years ago or 15 years ago, and nothing ever happened. It didn't get repealed. It's just as much of a problem, if not more of a problem now than it was 15 years ago. What happened to that demand? Come on, man. Like, we want to see real consequences for crimes committed in the name of power. We want people held trial, held accountable, something, economic crimes, people held accountable for economic crimes. We want to see some justice, right, etc. And we want certain things that people want and need in order to feel like they are in a society that cares about them. Come on, people, come on, write it down. Not Obamacare. Yeah, not Obamacare. Not see all these fake things that they put out there to make people feel like they won. This is it's a really good playbook, right? Obama got you. In a way, Trump makes people feel like they, Trump got you too, right? Or Trump, they always get you with the promises. They get you with the promises, do the okey doke, but the election reform thing that Biden passed is not, nope. It is not election reform. It actually strengthened both parties. It strengthened their stranglehold on the election. I don't know if anybody knows that. Hardly anybody ever talked about it because everybody was just like, whoo, Trump's gone. Let's just not talk about politics for 4 years. And what is that, a genocide? Oh, well, we certainly don't like that. But maybe vote for Kamala and it'll stop. Just like, God dang, can you guys be any more flaccid? It's just so it's so frustrating. Anyways, liberals, man, it's not. I just don't like the vapid weakness. I don't like the kumbaya, manifest namaste fucking bullshit, thinking it's going to change something. It hasn't. It just hasn't. Sorry. It's already, we've had several decades of, well, is this going to work if we just meditate on it? Nope. Didn't work. It just got worse. Okay, we have to do something. Oh, shoot. Dang it. Didn't work. So, I mean, I love it. I love manifesting and namaste, and I love all of it. It's great. It's great feeling stuff, but you have to actually have a functional society in which to practice that stuff in. When society can't function anymore, well, then that stuff doesn't mean anything. You got to do actual concrete things. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see if the internet manifestors out there can make it happen. Like I see in my Instagram timeline, like constantly, like the Instagram manifestors out there, and they're good. It's like all very positive, very like real stuff. And I'm just like, but are you guys going to actually change what's happening in the world? Like, I want it to. I want to believe you. I really do, and I'm down to jump into the manifesting pool myself. I want to get in there. I want to manifest too. But look, man, it just gets worse. It just gets worse. So eventually you have to kind of like do concrete things, like make shit happen. Unfortunately. Sorry. I'm sorry to burst, people's spiritual hopes and dreams, but like, okay. Yeah, meanwhile, Trump is sending Marines to Venezuela. Why? Because thanks, man. Thanks, Bullet. I didn't really realize I was going to vent so hard, but god damn it. There is a definite disconnect with like real actual things that are going on, in the world, and the people who are deeply, the deep spiritual community, who I love, who I actually identify with, who are actually my brethren and my people. The deep spiritual community. Those are my people. Those are the people I hang with. But there's a disconnect. There is a disconnect. simulation theory about reality is sounding more and more logical nowadays. Why is he? Dude, they're saying because of drugs. They're saying because of drugs. I say it's because of oil. You know, they've been trying to get this guy, and they've been trying to get to Venezuela for a long time. Remember when Trump was first president and they got caught sending like a commando team? I'm a full tilt bookie namasteer, but I am able to just see reality. Good, Kate. Yeah. No, I believe that you are. I believe that you are all of those things. I'm a full tilt namasteer too. Like I'm a full on, like, let's meditate it out kind of a person. But I'm also like, yeah, yeah, sometimes you just gotta, you know what I mean? You just gotta actually like go to work, right? You gotta brush your fucking teeth. You gotta, whatever it is, you gotta like clean your house and whatever it is, right? Like whatever the real thing is, you gotta do things physically in the world, right? That aren't going to get done with you just sitting there and bewitching it into reality. Okay. Anyways, with 4,000 Marines on their way to Venezuela, Trump doesn't rule out a boots on the ground invasion. What the heck is going on? Yes. Somebody is on it. Guy or Gay Thug, his name. Gay Thug is on it. He said, oil reserves by country, Venezuela. Very large. You know what I'm saying? So this again aligns with my theory that the U.S. is absolutely in panic, financial panic mode, in imperial panic mode. Right? They need they need to keep oil reserves coming. They need oil reserves, to power the military. They need all kinds of things. This would be a boon to the economy if they could get the oil that's in Venezuela. I know it is a weird thing. 4,000 against 4.5 million. Let's listen to this knucklehead here.
3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at possibility of boots on the ground there?
What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country. And with that, I will leave you all, and we will see you later, if not tomorrow.
In any ways, that is wild. Yeah, I mean, a few months ago they put a $50 million bounty on his head. Is it million? I think it was million. We'll look a little more at this. Venezuela mobilizes 4.5 million soldiers as Trump deploys U.S. Marines to Caribbean. Yeah. So they seem like they're posturing for something a little bigger. This comes after the Trump administration secretly signed a directive approving the Pentagon's use of military force, supposedly to target Latin American drug cartels. Trump administration has accused Maduro of being the leader of the cartel de los Soles, offering up to a $50 million reward for information leading to Maduro's arrest. Okay. How would you go about collecting that, by the way? I'm like, what kind of information? how are you gonna inform? I don't know. I just thought about that reward and I was like, that is so weird. For one, who would facilitate that? Be able to? It's just no. They've long not. Excuse me. You have a kitchen cleanup live stream of music. Yeah, I'll be doing that one later. Marines in the Caribbean for hurricane season. Brilliant planning. Of course, these guys have thought of everything, as always. Yeah, so that's the news. They're sending Marines down there. And, well, they always start these little things with like a couple thousand troops. And what that means is that they're preparing to send more, and or they already have a bunch in the area, right? Like they've already got, that's just, what did they used to call them? Advisors, or for training purposes. 1,000 Marines were sent to Chile for training purposes, right? And what that means is that they were there, handling things, right? So that's an interesting thing. I'm also seeing people that still don't understand the COVID thing on my timeline, going back to speaking of like my liberal friends on Facebook, who are always like really ready to talk shit about RFK Jr. and they, which is fine, but you should know why you're talking shit about him and also what kind of shit you're talking. So like, because they don't like him because he's an anti-vaxxer, and what they don't understand is like, well, that's actually the best part about him. There's reasons not to like RFK Jr. One is that he's an owned cuck of Israel, and that he's doing sleight of hand stuff with the Trump administration. He's saying that he's reforming things, but they're still going forward with the old things they were going, and that's why you should hate him. So they hate him for the wrong reasons, and they don't understand the whole, like, the depth, because the in-depth analysis is not there. But maybe I'm not giving people the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully they'll get some better in-depth analysis going on the FB timelines sometime soon. We never know. The American Academy of Pediatrics is urging that children between 6 months and 23 months receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Children are very, especially young boys, are susceptible to the myocarditis. Why are you doing this? Going against the advice of RFK Jr. and the CDC. According to the AAP, this age group faces the greatest risk of developing severe COVID-19. So they are like, the kids are in danger, man. You got to give them a shot. And hopefully they won't have a heart attack while they're running down the halls in elementary school. Peacekeepers, that's right.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has a different vaccine recommendation than the U.S. government.
I'm confused.
In a newly released statement, the AAP says it's strongly recommending that all children ages 6 to 23 months get a COVID-19 vaccine. The announcement is in contrast to the federal government's recommendations that say that COVID-19 vaccine is no longer routinely recommended for healthy children. Contrasting vaccine recommendations highlight the growing rift between federal health officials and medical organizations. The American Academy of Pediatrics.
Okay. Confused face. So, from Ethical Skeptic, those children born of past vaccination mothers, meaning after vaccination, despite never having been vaccinated themselves and despite never having had COVID, particular demographic, are dying now at a 77% excess, a 24 sigma event. This is kind of wild. All natural causes of death in vaccinals aged 0 to 4. Is that like a generation thing? Like millennials, vaccinals? That's horrible. Okay. So here's the inflection point. So from 2021, children, all natural causes of death without COVID. Mother was vaccinated, never had COVID. And it looks like there could be all kinds of reasons for this, I suppose, but seems like a pretty big jump. Below is a breakout of the absolute mortality count differential for the top ICD groups by querying the NCHS database directly for comparative year-to-year counts. Hold on. He's showing this. So these are the things that they're dying of. Respiratory disease, congenital malformations, cardiopulmonary disorders, increase in susceptibility to narcotics, virus, septicemia, susceptibility, other ill-defined and unspecified mortality. So the number one, and it looked like by a long shot, is respiratory diseases and respiratory failure. The inflection is substantiated by the CDC NCHS's own data publication. Unprecedented increase over 30-year horizon. So this is a 30-year horizon. And you have infant mortality going down generally. But as of 2021, spiking up. Is there a connection? Don't know, but interesting statistics, don't you think? And we'll watch this interesting video here. By the way, guys, if you like this show, if you like Black Bear News, if you like to hang out with the Black Bear News crew Monday through Friday, and it's all for free, consider supporting the show at the usual places. All the links are in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on. There's a link tree on X. And so there's that. Ibrahim Traore's just accused the U.S. of killing 50 soldiers at an outpost in Burkina Faso. Huh. Dr. Rima Lebeau called the whole COVID psyop perfectly all the way back in 2009. In a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination. Listen, it's just a with a interview with Uncle Jesse, and she says some really interesting things.
You've left the United States of America.
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
I do not feel safe living in the United States.
Do you want to come in and sit down?
No, sir, I'd rather not.
You'd rather just be here so you can make a fast exit if you have
As soon as you and I finish,
You're out
I'm
here.
leaving the country again. Why? Because in a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination under the mistaken term of voluntary vaccination.
Now, what is it about these vaccinations? You think that they're bad?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the World Health Organization has decided that we have 90% too many people. The World Health Organization has been working since 1974 on vaccines to create permanent sterility.
Doctor, the response is going to be, you're crazy. How can you say this stuff?
They will induce a pandemic. You're going to get the flu. Everybody around us is going to get the flu. Then the United States government, based on their statements that they've already made, will say, oh my, we have a pandemic. What that means is a Holocaust, a genocidal Holocaust.
She's using words that are in the lexicon a lot these days. She's using the words that people are throwing around a lot these days, but they're not talking about a COVID. They're not talking about like a viral Holocaust. They're talking about a different one, but it's interesting.
Men and women will sicken and die, and those who survive will be infertile. Let me tell you a story. In 2003, I had a patient in my drug-free medical practice who was a head of state. And one day she said, you know, it's almost time for the great culling to begin.
The what?
That's what I said. The what? She said the great culling, C-U-L-L-I-N-G, when you thin the herd. I said, what are you talking about? She said, it's almost time for the useless eaters to be culled. And she said, those are the people who are consuming our non-renewable natural resources. I said, who are the people who make this decision? She said, we, the aristocrats.
This person you talk to, you're bound because you're a physician and there's the relationship that you can't talk. Is this person a member of the Bilderbergs?
She is not Queen Beatrice. She is not the Queen of England. She is not Henry Kissinger. But she certainly presented herself as a member of that power elite.
No, he is not dead yet, Kate. Oh, that was an interesting interview, wasn't it? Not just the U.S. though, yeah. For real, Extra Bola? Was that the name of your band? It's pretty great. There's a band right now called Weather Machine, which I think is just an amazing name. I'm like so mad that I wish I would have thought of that myself. Weather Machine is perfect. And they're a pretty good band too, by the way, if you like that kind of thing. No, he's still very much alive, Jesse Ventura. By the hair of his chinny chin chins. Man, what else are we talking about today? That was interesting, right? There's been a couple of those, though. There's been a few people that have said, like, yeah, they're going to roll out the vaccines, and that's that. Michael Tracy is up to his oppositional thing again. Oh, let's go back real quick to bookend the beginning of the show. I just wanted to show you how they're trying to like demonize Democrats right now as a distraction. And so it works in their favor when everybody's demonizing. All Republicans are fascists, Trump, MAGA-tards, and all liberals are corrupt, kooky communists. You know, we just put them in these nice little boxes where people aren't really people anymore. They're just like symbols of things that you don't like. They're going after the EPA, saying that the EPA didn't do its job with the East Palestine train crash.
The Environmental Protection Agency is supposed to be keeping our
But
air
it was the
and water
EPA
clean,
under Biden, of
not
course, right?
conducting
Not the EPA
surveillance
now
tests
that's doing
and
even
testing
less
against
to protect you
independent scientists in
environmentally.
Paris.
No,
And
that
News Nation
EPA under
sources a
Biden,
new
that was the
unreleased
bad one.
email
That was the
show
communist
that is what
communist
was
one.
happening after the East Palestine train disaster in February of 2023. The target? An environmental scientist whose test contradicted the EPA's narrative that there were no dangerous levels of toxins in the area. Local residents were told the official story. Their neighborhoods were safe. And some of those who dared to disagree found themselves in the EPA's crosshairs. This is just the latest example of EPA issues in East Palestine, and News Nation has stayed on top of the story. Just last month, we showed you how a report found the agency in Norfolk Southern manipulated soil testing data following the disaster. News Nation investigative correspondent Rich.
Are you going to do anything to change this? Here's Tulsi telling you that Fauci is a bad guy, which everybody already knew.
The new NIH director, on with, as well as Secretary Kennedy.
What's up with all this gain
is
of function, guys?
looking at the gain of function research that, in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many others around, many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded and leads.
And it was Fauci that did it. He's the bad guy. I mean, maybe they're going to scapegoat him. Maybe he's going down. Who knows? Meanwhile, they're trying to release self-amplifying mRNA vaccines on people, right? It's just Tulsi is trash, garbage. But yeah, they're trying to, like, you know, oh, what did the EPA do under Biden? But what is the EPA doing now? Repulsive. Ow. What is the EPA doing now? They're even more toothless than ever, right? The EPA is totally overlooking the fact that they're building data centers that are sucking up water and burning whatever kind of fuels. So they're, happy to green light tech companies restarting old nuclear power plants so they could, fuel data center. Like, yeah, this is all the same. Like, this is just complete and utter distraction. And, you might think somewhere in your soul, and me too, that, oh man, it would be great if somebody faced some kind of something about something ever, right? Like in these days and times, it'd be cool if somebody faced some kind of consequences for this, gross negligence. But do you think it's going to happen? Hell no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. It's not going to happen. There's going to be no. Yeah, right. They tried to, like, say, oh, they're releasing files, Epstein files on Clinton, or no, what was it? The Russiagate. They're going to go after the Russiagate files on Clinton. Do you think they're going to face any repercussions? Hell to the no. Nope. It's just distraction TV until the bitter end, I guess. Falling skyrocks. Speaking of falling skyrocks, I just saw this kind of like great. You thought that Trump was supposed to be a man of peace, says Scott Andrews. Okay. Who? I guess not. Trump was a man of peace. Where's my emoji? Dang it. All right. I need an emoji. Yeah. They tried it, or they're trying it. I don't know how many people are buying it, though. I really don't know how many buyers there are for the bullshit right now, because they're putting a lot of it out there. It's on sale. It's buy 10, get 5 more bags free of bullshit. And, like, I don't know that they're getting a lot of buyers. All right, we're going to listen to this guy talk about the Internet of Things, and I'm going to wrap up the show for the day. Appreciate y'all being here. I do. Just trying to put this in the right place. I forget this man's name. He does a lot of pretty good, insightful things on the internet. You've probably ran into him.
They call it the Internet of Bodies. Not a conspiracy theory. It's a term used by the World Economic Forum, Rand Corporation, and leading biotech firms. The idea is simple. The first internet connected your computers. The second connected your devices, phones, cars, smart fridges. And the next phase is connecting your body. It starts with things where we already accept. Smartwatches, fitness trackers, even pacemakers that send data wirelessly. But it goes further. Digital pills that transmit a signal when swallowed. Biometric tattoos that can track vital signs. Brain-computer interfaces like Elon Musk's Neuralink. And all of it sending continuous streams of data into global networks. Supporters say it will revolutionize healthcare, safety, and efficiency. The World Economic Forum calls it a pathway to predictive and preventative health. But once your biology is online, it also becomes programmable. Your heartbeat, your hormones, even your neuronal signals, all accessible and all potentially hackable. The Rand Corporation already warned in a 2020 report that the Internet of Bodies could create unprecedented risks to security and personal privacy. Yet governments, tech giants, and defense agencies continue to invest billions into it.
This is what trips me out, right? It's like for the last few years, you've been hearing, AI whistleblower, tech worker, AI leader, AI founder warns of the coming risks of AI, but they're like, how about some more AI? How about we plug AI into every single thing that you ever do? Ow. Yikes. I just kicked my mic stand in the wrong way, with the wrong toe. Right? They're just AI is just getting a full-on injection, like full speed. Take this AI, but the last few years you've been hearing people just saying like, I don't know, it could kill us all. How about we try some more AI? How about more AI? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand. How about more AI crowd? When they already know, they've already said. The people who made it already said it multiple times. It's probably going to kill us all. It's probably going to take us out. I don't know. It could just really screw things up. But I guess we're going for it. Yeah. How about some AI toilet paper? I don't know what it's supposed to do for you, but it's in there.
This isn't about convenience. It's about ownership. Ownership of the human being at the biological level. The question is no longer whether your phone is listening to you. The question is, are you ready to live in a world where your body itself is logged in, monitored, and updated like a machine?
And there you go. Are you ready? I don't think I'm ready. I'm definitely not ready. In fact, pretty sure I'm not ready. How about y'all? No, that's the other way. Thanks so much. All right, guys. I do appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time. That's what I say too. Flock AI. Flock them all. Thank you. Extra bullet, everybody. Appreciate you. And beware the bear.